You are Locked On Lions Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, how about it? That's what I'm talking about. That's what a good team does. That's what a first place Detroit Lions team looks like. On the road, miserable weather conditions, it doesn't matter. Dominant to start from start to finish. The final score doesn't do it justice, but the Lions get the win 24-14, third straight win at Lambeau Field, and the Detroit Lions at 7-1 are alone in first place in the NFC North. Welcome into a live Locked On Lions postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. This is the live Locked On Lions postcast. It is your post-game destination. We thank you for making the Locked On Lions postcast your choice following the final whistle. And as always, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Do me a favor, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. If you're new around here, here's how it works. Post-game shows after Lions games, Pistons games, and of course, Wolverines games, Tigers games in the baseball season as well. But it's a whole heck of a lot of fun because our Lions team are playing like the baddest group of you-know-what in the NFL, and today was just another example. Shout out to Matt Derry and the Locked On Lions postcast, his coverage each and every day of this team, and together we are the 1-2 punch covering the Detroit Lions for the Locked On Network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 bets in bonus bets. If you win your first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, lots to unpack in this one. I think we start with the good. We'll touch on some of the bad, obviously the Brian Branch ejection, and round it all out with what this team means and what this win means and how they can continue to make a push for maybe the best season in Lions history. But as always, your comments are welcome. And if you're with us for our Locked On Pistons postcast earlier today, we appreciate you for tuning in as well. Busy day in the Motor City. And I was looking on Twitter the last time both the Pistons and Lions won on the same day. It has been a whole heck of a long time. But let's get into this one, starting with some of the pregame, I guess you could call them storylines. But I want to start with Jared Goff because I wouldn't say offense to, but I am admittedly a Jared Goff supporter, defendant, super fan, always have been. And I think everybody is now, of course. But one of the big knocks remaining on Jared Goff is this whole indoor cat thing. And what did he do in an outdoor game? Miserable conditions, 40 degrees, raining sideways, wind gust warnings. I mean, the Fox broadcast talked about it over and over again. He just goes out and plays a clean, efficient game. The Lions were balanced offensively, great rushing attack, the 1-2 combo from David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles. I mean, my goodness, I just think every time we start to talk about this team, I don't know where to start. But that second quarter for the Lions, the first quarter, I think it honestly took 15 minutes, just both teams running the ball. The clock was always moving, but you get down to that fourth down call in the beginning of the second quarter for the Lions' first touchdown. And Dan Gamble's going to Dan Gamble. When it works, we love it. And at that point in the game, I was a little bit suspect on that play or on the call to go for it. But you get the fall or the encroachment from the Green Bay Packers to draw the Packers offsides. Good job by Ragnow there. And then the 4th and 7 becomes 4th and 2. Jared Goff finds Amon-Ra St. Brown on one of the nastiest routes you will see. I mean, putting his guy in a spin cycle and then making the catch. And listen, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a spitfire. He's going to talk a lot of you-know-what. He's going to wear the hoodie that says Green Bay sucks, but he is going to back it up on the field. And that's exactly what you saw today. They mentioned it on the Fox broadcast, but Jared Goff's last 20 plus pass attempts, I don't remember the exact number, but for whatever it is, every time he goes to Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have connected. It's just insane chemistry, and we saw it for the first touchdown of the game. Lions then get a field goal, and this is where I got to give the Lions a lot of credit. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we dive into the Brian Branch ejection, because that was certainly a part of the game. I shared my thoughts on Twitter. Look, it's absolutely a penalty. He led with the head, made contact with the head, no doubt about it, 15-yard penalty. But what I can't get over, what I won't stand for, and what you can't convince me of is that this was just not an egregious overreach from the NFL to have the player ejected. Listen, there is no targeting in the NFL. That's not a thing. You can get a 15-yard penalty, but the ejection is not up to the referee's discretion. And I'm sure more will come out with this, but this is an immediate reaction show. But Brian Branch to be ejected from the game completely changes the dynamics of the game. And there's so many different angles you could touch on with this, whether it be the implications of not having your best player defensively in the secondary, what that means. And I don't want to get into the financial compensations with the amount of money that's wagered on games like these, but the complete and overall dynamics of the game completely changing when you remove a player, in my opinion, is an egregious overreach. Because listen, plays like this are going to happen in the National Football League. I shared this on Twitter, but we glorified Hall of Famers like Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu and Brian Dawkins. The list goes on, hard-hitting safeties. And I get it. It's a different era of football right now. So sure, penalize Brian Branch 15 yards, move on. But the call in from New York to have the player removed was a complete overreach. But what does this Lions team do? They respond to adversity. And that's a testament to the culture. It's a testament to Dan Campbell and how this organization has been built. Obviously, add Brad Holmes to that as well. And this team can shake off a call that goes against them. Lions teams in the past, what might happen? Maybe they crumble, Green Bay goes and scores, and we've got a brand new game. But not this Detroit Lions team, not the 2024 Dan Campbell led Detroit Lions team. And listen, Brian Branch has to keep his composure a little bit more. I'm not a fan of the double middle finger to the fans. I mean, I know that's how we all feel, but you can't do that on the field. And what do his teammates do? They pick him up. Kerby Joseph playing at an elite level, playing at an all-pro level. Listen, I've got guys I follow on Twitter that follow and cover other NFL teams saying Kerby Joseph is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. That's not me saying it. It's other guys in the league. That's how good he's playing. You get the pick six before the end of the half to put the exclamation point on a solid third quarter that saw the Lions take complete control of this game to the tune of outscoring the Green Bay Packers 17-0. And sure, did Jordan Love make an egregious mistake? Absolutely. You can't throw that ball. Tom Brady was ripping him, which we'll get to Tom Brady in a second. He's the GOAT, no doubt about it, as a player. But, man, we got some work to do on the broadcast side of things, because I watched the early game, the Cowboys-Falcons with Greg Olsen. And, I mean, as from an analytical perspective and from a color analyst, Greg Olsen just runs circles around Tom Brady. But more on that in a little bit. That's not the point of the statement I'm making here. With Kerby Joseph and collectively that Lions defense picking up Brian Branch and exemplifying what it means to be a team and what it means to overcome adversity at that point in the game. Listen, it is totally in the balance. And even at the halftime break, okay, 17-3, you get the pick six, you're feeling good, but still, job's not done. Job's not finished. So what do the Lions do in the third quarter? Well, so glad you asked. You start that third quarter, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs. We saw David Montgomery in the first half. We saw Jahmyr Gibbs more in the second half. I saw a lot of people, where's Jahmyr Gibbs? Well, just wait. That's the beauty of the 1-2 punch that can beat you in so many different ways. Listen, Montgomery had the hotter hand today, 17 carries for 73 yards. But it was Jahmyr Gibbs on that drive early in the third quarter that helped continue to hammer the nail in against this sorry Green Bay team and continue to put the game in control for the Detroit Lions. 11 carries, 65 yards, and the touchdown. None bigger than on fourth down. We love a good fourth down call. We love a good Dan Gamble. But this one, obviously, fourth and short, and Jahmyr Gibbs on a tremendous block from Penei Sewell, who Penei Sewell got beat a couple of times by Rashawn Gary, which is something you don't see very often. But on that fourth down run in the third quarter, Jahmyr Gibbs scampering for the 15-yard run, Penei Sewell walled off his guy and in the process cleared out 3 other Packers players that just opened up a lane the size a truck could run through for Jahmyr Gibbs for the score to make it 24-3. And listen, I don't think the game was over at that point. A couple of really good stops from the defense, big plays from on that fourth down and short in the fourth quarter. And I don't think the Lions, took their foot off the gas, but the Packers come back with a field goal. And then the only score in the fourth quarter was that Emanuel Wilson 2-yard run. That being said, this Lions defense played at an extremely high level, and Aaron Glenn has them playing so well. They forced turnovers, and it was complimentary football all the way through, which you love to see. So was there some bad in this game? Absolutely. On the road, tough things are going to happen, but it's about how you respond. And after that branch ejection, this Lions team responded. Kerby Joseph, the pick six. And then in the third quarter, coming out of that halftime break, getting the touchdown to really go up and put a stranglehold on this game, 24-3. It's just what you love to see from a Detroit Lions team. Jared Goff now the only, this is crazy, in Lions history. Think about all the quarterbacks that the Lions have ever had. The only quarterback to win 3 straight games at Lambeau Field is Jared Goff. How about that? There's just the excitement, the aura, I think is what the kids say now, the overall culture, just what this team is. You gotta absolutely love it. We've waited a long time for this, but 7-1 on the season. Up next, the Lions will play on Sunday Night Football against a good Texans team, albeit they've lost a couple as of late. They lost on Thursday Night Football to the Jets, so they'll be well rested with some additional time off. But what a win for the Detroit Lions, 7-1, alone in first place in the NFC, and of course in the NFC North as well. Lots of comments to get to. We're going to get to the comments. That's coming up next, and we'll continue to break this one down. I want to talk about that brilliant game plan because there were a few calls from Ben Johnson. You've got the rest of the National Football League drooling over Ben Johnson, wanting him to be their next head coach, and then we'll tie a bow on it as well. So your comments are next on the live Locked On Lions postcast after a convincing 24-14 win over the Green Bay Packers. This episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and can be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves in risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. This episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is also brought to you by Prize Picks. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. Here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on players' projected stats, 2 to 6 of them to be exact, and voila, you watch the winnings roll on in. For example, I'm always picking more on Amon-Ra St. Brown's stat line because he delivers night in and night out. You absolutely love it. Now, here's the other thing with Prize Picks. If we're talking the best way to get in on the action, you got to make it Prize Picks, because now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action on sports in over 30 states, and that includes California, Florida, and Georgia, and oh yeah, Texas as well. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, because listen, that's a part of the game. We know that's important. important. So your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, not to worry, because PrizePicks keeps your lineup alive. Listen, I play PrizePicks all the time. It is so exciting. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You can combine some sports as well now that we got the NBA going on, a little hoops action, a little NFL action. It all is worth the squeeze. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. So how about that? Now, here it is. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, all you have to do is download the app and use code LOCKEDON to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, we got a lot of people tuning in on a live Locked On Lions postcast. If you missed the open, my name is Jake Riepma. Shout out to the everydayers. Shout out to everybody commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing. All those metrics help the YouTube algorithm and help us grow and reach more and more Lions fans. And what a time to be a Lions fan. 7-1 in first place in the NFC and just putting the rest of the NFL on notice. Now, want to talk about how well this game was called from both the offensive perspective with Ben Johnson and in Aaron Glenn's side of things on the defense. Because listen, the Lions are a team that is able to adapt to the environment and to the weather. Whatever you would call it, I guess the weather specifications, whatever it is, this is a team that's versatile enough to run the ball, ground and pound, and then mix in Jared Goff's efficiency. And I believe Ben Johnson made a great job early in this game of setting Jared Goff up for success with some completable throws. And then the combination with David Montgomery getting going early, you had the ability to be multidimensional, even in an environment that didn't necessarily exude what teams will usually do to be multidimensional. And a lot of teams will fall victim to the rain, the temperature, whatever it is. But Detroit today, I thought, prove that A, Jared Goff can be an outdoor cat, and B, with the wealth of riches, and we talk about that all the time, the wealth of riches that this team has, there's no one good way to defend them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously he's going to be at the top of the list with 7 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. But we even saw Allen Robinson get in on the action, made a catch as well. Jahmyr Gibbs can be used in the passing game. Tim Patrick with 2 catches, and then running the ball. Again, that combination of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs as a team, 124 yards rushing, and they ran the ball 32 times. So there wasn't any one big, major moment where you think, wow, they're running all over this team. It was just steady. You got the one of the best offensive lines in the game, leaning in on that defensive line, creating penetration each and every play. And then defensively, my goodness, what a job by Aaron Glenn. The pick six is going to stand out, but he had this defense in position to make plays repeatedly, and that's exactly what they did. A number of guys stepping up, and this is a Lions team that's a bit shorthanded when you talk about all of the injuries. But Jack Campbell in the middle of that defense, 13 tackles, and creating pressure. At times, this defense, when Green Bay had success, it was when the defensive line didn't create pressure. And yeah, we're going to talk about some of the rumors that are speculating out there, whether it be Zadarius Smith as a potential trade with the deadline approaching quickly. I believe the deadline being on Tuesday. You got Zadarius Smith. That's a conversation. Max Crosby, that pipe dream is still alive because apparently, according to the Free Press, the Lions are still reaching out to the Raiders for Max Crosby. So who knows? That kind of stuff can change quickly. It is my belief it'll be Zadarius Smith, but either way, shoring up this pass rush with the addition of a player that can get to the quarterback, at the deadline is going to help this defense take the next step forward. But again, it's back-to-back games. You give up just 14 points. You add in the pick six today. The defense played inspired football, and that's what you love to see. All right, I promise we get to some of the comments, so let's go ahead and do that. Ryan, try and run through these pretty quickly. Luke says, let's go. Or Quarantined Luke says, let's go. Teddy Roll says, gritty win. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights checking in again with the yo. Rufus T. Cat, my local Fox showed the game, so I got to watch live this week. Lions are getting a lot more games on the air this year, and well-deserved. Yeah, we had Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt on the call. Burkhardt's one of my all-time favorites. Phenomenal play-by-play call, great studio coverage or pre-post game coverage like you see with the World Series on Fox. But Brady, he's got some work to do. My goodness. He's kind of like the one that jumped out to me when Gary made the sack for the Packers. He just couldn't identify the player, and the spotters got to help him out there and point on his call sheet. No, it's Gary. But anyways, there's a couple of other ones as well. But he'll get there. He'll get there. I do believe that. Demetrius McNeil, Jake, I'm very sure the Lions will see Jordan Love in Week 14 at Ford Field on December 5th. Should they beat the Texans on Sunday Night Football, Lions will host the NFC Championship game in January. Well, yeah, I think that's certainly the hope that the Lions will host the NFC Championship and get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And they put themselves on a good path to get there with the 7-1 start. Still some work to be done. Woda says, love getting a win over the Green Bay Slackers. Love didn't look great, to be honest. No, he sure didn't. And he was playing hurt. I think that's worth pointing out. I'm not making excuses for him, but that's kind of who I think Jordan Love is. And albeit it's only the true second year as far as a sample size. So we're going to see more. But Jordan Love plays like Brett Favre. He plays with a reckless abandon, and sometimes it's going to work out, and other times it's going to be a pick six right before halftime that in a lot of ways costs your team. So Jordan Love, yes, he's got the ability to be mobile, make all the throws, all the cliches, but he also is going to cough the ball up from time to time. And the Lions, to their credit defensively, I mentioned they played inspired football, but they also took advantage of those mistakes that Jordan Love and this Packers offense made. How about a shout out to my guy, Jeff Wilford? Amazing game today, even with the refs help ejecting players. Yeah, I listen, and I know we're all still getting to know each other here, but one of my, I won't say pet peeves, but it always bothers me when the refs are the first thing you talk about. So I never want it to be the first thing we talk about, but my goodness, I classified it as an egregious overstep from the NFL, because it was the NFL. It was the referee does not have the discretion to eject a player. That comes from New York. And with that, I understand the 15-yard penalty call with Branch, but to eject him was tough. That's just, I don't love seeing that. G Calendar says boring, but definitely gritty. Listen, I understand what you're going with there. The Lions had 24 points early in the third and then didn't get any more, but I wouldn't classify this game as boring. I think you'll take a win over Green Bay at Lambeau any way you can get it. And they didn't have the razzle dazzle and flash. In fact, the one trick play they tried kind of blew up in their face late in that fourth quarter. But it's not always going to be that way. You got in the National Football League, there is no cookie cutter approach to winning. And each and every Sunday, the cliche, any given Sunday, you just got to go out and find a way to win. And today it was running the ball. It was playing great defense. It was being opportunistic. And at times, I guess to your point, it was quote unquote boring. But man, you love to see the convincing statement win at Green Bay. The Ronin 99, they should have played Willis, period. Yeah, I'm surprised the Packers didn't, because I think a healthy Malik Willis gives you a better chance to win than the Jordan Love we saw, especially considering the Packers had not lost with Malik Willis anytime. I know it's a small sample size, but yeah, it's certainly worth the discussion there. The good old Cleedle. I'm not familiar with that. All right. Michael Laughlin says, where's all the clown crap haters now? Oh, well, yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Packers fans for my whole life, everybody's life, just no. That's what you would always hear from them. And yeah, I guess the Pedro Martinez approach of they owned us. I mean, they always won, so why wouldn't they run their mouth? But yeah, you certainly don't hear a lot from the Green Bay Packers right now in terms of, and their fans as well. But to win at Lambeau for the third straight time, that's incredible stuff. And there's a chance we'll see the Packers again at Ford Field later later in the season, but maybe in the playoffs too, because I think it's a playoff team. I said the sorry Packers earlier. I meant more today. They were a little bit sorry, and the competitor in me, when you get a little bit excited here, is certainly going to have that come out. But I think the Packers are a good team. Jordan Love, depending on what the injury looks like, he's got to get healthy, and we'll see what that next matchup has in store for the Lions. All right, one more segment. I've gone a little bit long. My apologies. Don't go anywhere. Back in a moment on the Locked On Lions postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by Hillsdale College. That's right. Hillsdale College knows that time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How you can spend it wisely to improve yourself. Well, how about some history, economics, and the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution? And did you study those in high school? Probably not, but listen up. Hillsdale College has all of those courses that are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Here are just a few of the courses that are available. Constitution 101, the meaning of history and Constitution. Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire, and the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. Hillsdale College has it figured out. I'm telling you, you want to check out these free courses. Listen, both of my parents went to Hillsdale College. How about that, sports fan? My father, the great late Pat Rietma, a Hall of Fame quarterback at Hillsdale College. So I've got love for the Hillsdale College Chargers. My dear mother as well. She also attended Hillsdale College. It's a phenomenal school. Check out the courses for yourself. Don't take my word for it. All you have to do at Hillsdale College, all you have to do to get registered, don't even worry about. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockdown to enroll. That's hillsdale.edu/lockdown to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockdown to register. hillsdale.edu/lockdown. This episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is also brought to you by FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment matter with a FanDuel and get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel's Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. It's your one-stop shop, my friends. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Download the app as well. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports partner of the NFL. My sincerest apologies. I was just so excited with how well the Detroit Lions are playing. And with that being said, I went a little bit long, but that's what happens when you have a 24-14 victory over the Green Bay Packers. And frankly, it wasn't that close either. The Lions dominated in every facet of this game. You look at this box score and it will lean towards the Detroit Lions because they were the better team today. There is no doubt about it. Jordan Love, just 273 yards and the 1 interception, and he did not have a passing touchdown. Credit to the Lions defense because Josh Jacobs almost had 100 yards in the first quarter. He had, I believe, in the 80s in the first quarter, but finishes with just 95 yards rushing. So the Lions still have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in quite some time. So you got to give them a lot of credit there. But total yards for the Lions in Green Bay, listen, they moved the ball, especially in that fourth quarter. They're going to get a lot of the, I'll call it stat Padford time. The Lions get some stat Padford time, as we love to kind of tease that the Lions used to pad the stats when they were when they were, and I apologize. I think we're having some Wi-Fi issues here. Connection. There we go. We are back. My apologies if we lost you there for a second. Whatever reason that connection was unstable, but we're back. We are back. So as I was saying, Packers padded the stats late in this one when the game was in the balance and the Lions were up 14-3. It was, in fact, the Packers padding the stats. So you look at that box score, they're going to have more yards gained, that sort of thing. But man, the Lions made the most of their 8 drives. And again, the defense stepping up in a big way. Lions got to clean up 5 penalties. Packers had 10 penalties, though. But that being said, the Brian Branch was definite penalty, did not agree with the ejection. And man, how about the response from this team? Then with Brian Branch, though, he's going to be raring to go and ready to go for that Sunday night game against the Houston Texans next week. So Lions get the Week 9 victory over Green Bay at Lambeau Field, their 3rd straight win against the Packers at Lambeau Field. You love to see that. And we'll face the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. It'll be a road game. And after that, the Jags come to Ford Field on November the 17th. Can't take anybody lightly, though. And then the Lions go to Indianapolis to take on the Colts on the 24th. You got the Bears on Thanksgiving at home, of course. And then it's the Packers on December 5th at home as well. That's a night game. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that December 5th is also a Thursday night game. The Lions will play back-to-back games on Thursday. Let me just double check that, as they say, and make sure that I'm in the right month here. There we go. Yeah. So December 5th, also a Thursday night game. So the Lions won't have that extended break after the Thanksgiving game. They'll play another game on Thursday. So back-to-back games on Thursdays there as well. But hey, how about the effort from the Detroit Lions today? They overcome the ejection of Brian Branch. They dominate. They show who the leaders of the NFC are, who the leaders of the NFC North are, and extend that lead in first place. Now 7-1 on the year, and we'll take on the Houston Texans next Sunday on Sunday Night Football. That's going to do it for our live Locked On Lions postcast. As always, we thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out Locked On Lions with Matt Derry on the daily. How about that? And appreciate all the coverage that he does. And don't forget, now that you've watched the Locked On Lions postcast, it's time now for your second listen. So go find the new Locked On NFL with 2 shows every day. First, the Madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso, and then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for your comments as well. I think we read every single one of them. And thanks so much for all of those that make our live Locked On Lions postcast run. My name is Jake Rietma. Check me out on Twitter as well. Always interacting with Lions fans on the X platform at Jake_Rietma. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 24-14, 3rd straight win at Lambeau Field. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you on the next Locked On Sports Detroit postcast, which I believe will be a Locked On Pistons postcast, who are also victorious today. What a Sunday in the Motor City. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.